Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Yellow Brick Rabbits discussion on Wonder Woman. This is part 2. Before we get underway, I want to make a quick reminder that I liked this movie. I recommend you go watch this movie. This thing is full of spoilers, and I've already admitted that this is overanalyzing the movie. That being said, let's get right back into it.
Welcome to jolly old London.
It's hideous.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
It's hideous. That's her response to seeing a metropolitan city for the first time. She's lived on the island, her small little civilization, for her entire life and seen nothing outside of it. Thrust into modern populace, her only words are, "It's hideous." What's that pulling you? What's that thing in front of you? What's that? Is that a steamboat? Yeah? No? No questions about the steamboat? Lady from ancient Greece, nothing there, no wonder, no amazement, nothing to marvel about. Is that Tower Bridge one of the engineering marvels in London? Yeah, no, nothing for you. Yeah, that's fantastic. And I know you're sitting there saying she's from Paradise Island. Paradise Island is a paradise and it's perfect, so of course it's hideous in comparison. Yes, but there's still technological difference, there's still innovation difference, there's still things to marvel at. And even if they live on Paradise Island, they're still Greek and live like ancient Greek people. We've been over this. There's pottery and stuff like this. There's were you telling me magical storehouses of pots just fill because Zeus is dead, remember, according to the thing. So what? Magic, Zeus, magic. Yes, we can only do this so many times, though.
Let's go. What are you doing?
Can't do that because you're not wearing any clothes. Let's go buy you some clothes.
What do these women wear into battle?
They don't,
Oh, baby.
No babies. No babies. That one's not made out of clay. Come on.
So there are a couple of things to say about this scene. Number one, yeah, no, she's not dressed. Not for 1918, not for ancient Greece, by the way. She's none of the Themysciran women are dressed like Greek women. They're all dressed like Greek boys. Yeah, no, they are. That's what Greek boys basically would wear. Yes, the women wore dresses. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, even if you look at the, statues and depictions of Athena and goddesses like that were warriors and stuff, they were wearing dresses. Yeah. So, generally, so even in your own culture, Diana, you should already know that you're inappropriately dressed. It shouldn't even bother you that people think you're inappropriately dressed, because you should already know this. You're inappropriately dressed for your own culture. And to be clear, I'm not saying she should be wearing a full dress and, modesty and all that. I'm just, pointing out that her amazement is not credible. And then the second thing is the baby. I wish we could have spent a little bit more time on the emotional impact that this baby has on Diana. After all, remember, she was the only child on the island, which means and she's 2,300 years old, if we got this right. So she has not seen a baby in her lifetime, and she has lived for 2,300. I mean, a baby would be a huge deal. This is the first time Diana has ever seen an infant in her life. Now, on top of that, the joke is funny. That one's not made of clay. I like it. Nice one, Trevor. Hey. But seeing more of these positive emotional impacts on Wonder Woman would have gone a long way to her character building and understanding of the world as the movie continues. It's a shame we didn't get more of that. That being said, here's a little bit more of that.
What do you think?
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
You should be very proud.
Thank you very much. You should be very proud.
This ice cream cone might be the only thing that Diana sees that she enjoys outside of Themyscira. This is Diana. She loves large, flashy jewelry, babies, and ice cream. So I feel like we've ripped on the movie enough by this point that we need a little break. And let's see a nice little scene that's a beautiful little homage.
Stand back. Or maybe not.
I guess I must have fainted.
Fainted? You fainted?
Sorry.
What is this place? Who are you people? Why does the water do that? How come you don't know what a watch is? How come you speak English so well?
We speak hundreds of languages.
Yeah, Captain Trevor. That was pretty much my question. How do you know English, but you don't know what a watch is? You know 20th century English, and you're fluent in it, but you have no contact with the outside world, and you don't know what things like watches are. So, how does this fly? See, if they had just not mentioned it at all, if they had just let it be, if they just hadn't mentioned that they were speaking English, then we would have just let it be part of the weird fourth wall experience where, you know, they just happen to be able to communicate and we don't mention it and we don't look into it, but then you went into it. So now we have to. Now we have to look at how ridiculous it is that they speak English and hundreds of other languages. Like, that's an answer to why she speaks English. Oh no, they speak, like, all languages. Like, they have no contact with anyone who ever spoke these types of languages. They can speak hundreds of languages all you want, but they have to be languages that they in some way encountered. Unless we're just going, again, with magicy, Zeus, magic, Zeus. Which we're going too far into the magicy, Zeus, magicy, magic. Okay? And it purely exists for Diana to show off. Like, the only time that this ever comes in useful is just to remind you that Diana speaks all languages. Like, other than that, there's no reason for this to be a thing throughout the movie where she just speaks random languages. They even have a translator with them, which we'll get to in a second.
Archie, Nirienchen Kaswa, Nisia Yashima.
Ichwanyaha, Gunya.
Alois te Socraten Helenis Tirapsoten.
Oh, you're done. Where's Charlie?
This is Samir. He's one of the men that Steve Trevor recruits to take on the mission to destroy Ludendorff's weapons factory. He is a top undercover man, which basically means he's a spy. I don't know why you just didn't call him a spy. I guess because you're a spy too. Well, why can't you just both be spies? Yes, he's another spy. Okay. So he's a spy and a top linguist. And what we just saw was how useless he's going to be. And the question is, why are you recruiting this guy? You already have a linguist. At the end of the clip, they talk about Charlie. And we're going to talk about Charlie now, because Charlie is another one of the people that is signed up to go with them to take out Ludendorff's facility.
Don't go. Don't! Boys, no! Don't go in there!
You're safe. Are you okay?
Get off me, woman! Stop making a fuss!
So this is Charlie. And yes, Charlie is obviously suffering from PTSD. Why Steve and Diana decided to recruit him to pull him back into the front when, I mean, from the conversation it's obvious that Steve knew exactly what was going on, pretty much. And yet, for some reason, he dragged his friend back into this. We will soon find out that, not only that, but Charlie is so traumatized that he can no longer fire. Charlie is our sniper, who can't fire his gun anymore.
Come on, Charlie! Shoot him!
So this is the team that Steve built to go take out the weapons factory. He got another spy who's a language expert when they have a lady who speaks 100 languages and flaunts this at every opportunity. They have a sniper who can't fire his gun anymore. And they have him who's a pilot and a spy. And I mean, well, Diana obviously, but I mean, what she wasn't hired. She just keeps begging him to get her there already, you know. So the two guys that he recruits to his team are basically useless, and why he dragged them back into the war is beyond me, basically. And then they meet Chief, of course. You might be thinking, oh, but you're forgetting Chief. Chief was there. But Chief wasn't really recruited. They just meet up with Chief, and they know Chief. He's like a contact. But Chief even says, you know, he doesn't fight for anyone, even though, like, the next thing we see him do is immediately join the fight, without any, like, character discussion on how he's going to change or whatever. We literally go from him discussing why he's neutral in this and just profiting, basically, to him joining to help Diana, without seeing, like, even a reaction shot of why he's joining. Like, suddenly I want to fight for this side. That's great.
Okay, mechanical. Nappy.
And I'm Diana.
Where'd you find her?
She found me.
Now, some people may have missed that Chief is actually Nappy. He introduces himself as Nappy in the bit, and that's a Native American god. The name changes, but there's like a story of this kind of. He's kind of like a Zeus character, to be honest. So I think he might be Zeus using another name, to be honest, and it's actually Zeus, which would be interesting and such, especially considering the next scene that I'm about to show you.
British tea for the Germans, German beer for the British, and Edgar Rice Burroughs novels for both.
Shh, I hear someone knocking on the fourth wall. It sounds like they say it's Edgar Rice Burroughs. Yeah, so that I don't think is as throwaway a line as it appears to be on the surface. Yes, he was a popular author at the time, so it makes sense. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's also, I think, a wink from the creators of the story here, of the movie, because, well, I mean, it would take too long to go through, but I mean, Edgar Rice Burroughs is the guy who did like Tarzan and Lost Continent, or it has another name. Blue 30, no, something, I don't know, Lost Continent, and he did the John Carter books. What were those? Something to Mars. It was like the Mars things. Yeah, no, that John Carter, by the way. Yeah, no, the same, like, the movie's based on those books. Yeah, no, that John Carter. So there's a running theme through his things where it's an exploration of someone exploring a lost civilization or a foreign civilization. You've got Tarzan, who, you know, is crashed into a wilderness and survives only because of the apes and grows up there. And then you have Lost Continent, which is it's like this weird alternate history thing with like a pan-American country that closes itself off from Europe during World War I. And the story's about like them being reintroduced to Europe after a long time of like not being in contact, and Europe's been like overrun and is like a savage land of nothingness now because like the war has destroyed everything. Hint, 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 hint. Not a major influence here at all. No. And then John Carter, I think, even also has influence. I mean, there you have the same sort of idea of John Carter goes to, I think it's even a Native American thing. He goes to like a Native American like spiritual place and gets sent to Mars, right? I'm asking my audience now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. And from there, he explores the lost civilizations of Mars that they didn't know about, and mingles between them and joins a tribe and becomes part of the civilization there. And it echoes kind of with the stories of Steve, who, crashes into this foreign world onto a paradise island lost to everyone else, and then Diana going out into the world of the continent that the island had shut itself off from for what seems to be thousands of years, but for a time anyway. It's the same type of story, to be honest, and it's a nice little echo, so I wanted to point that out for people who had missed it.
Thanks.
Ottoman and Sumerian. Surely someone else in this room knew that.
Yes, Diana, you're right. Someone should know Ottoman in that room. After all, Steve, at the beginning of the movie, was in the middle of the Ottoman Empire on a military airbase and stole the notebook from the middle of the Ottoman Empire as a spy who was embedded there. You're telling me you sent a spy who couldn't read the language? As for Sumerian, no, nobody there reads Sumerian. And even though it's the language that makes the most sense for you to know of the languages that you know, it's also like 1,000 years removed from you, because it's like way before, because Sumeria is way before ancient Greece, like 1,000 or more years before ancient Greece. Invitation, please.
The Colonel and I wish for many blessings and all manner of other things to fall upon your head.
Your head must be empty. He wants my invitation, you idiot.
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I must apologize 1,000 times, my master. I made the most horrible, the most unforgivable mistake.
Was the mistake driving up to a German checkpoint and speaking English during World War I? I guess not, because the German replies in English too, so... And of course, the German officers that we follow throughout the story as our villains are all speaking English and a German accent the whole time. But then again, every other language is being presented as itself, except for German, which is weird. Except for all the soldiers. All the soldiers are yelling things in German, who are German, except for the officers, who are all speaking English for some reason to each other. And then this. The linguist spy. Two spies infiltrating German high command, and somehow we're speaking English when we've done all these other scenes with language so far. Like, yes, I speak 100 languages. Yes, I speak all these languages too. And then we get to a point where we could actually use a language to do something spy related, and we're speaking English. Well, of course, Diana's not in the scene, and she can't flaunt her 100 languages. No wonder we're speaking English.
I lost the Colonel's invitation.
What? You saying we drove all the way to the mud and wreck
I'm a snail.
only for you to lose my invitation?
No, I'm a bug. Not even a bug. I'm a dung of a bug. And you're right, master. Blessing be upon...
Wait. Did the German just reply in German now? Let's see that again. The start and the end. Your invitation, please.
And you're right, master.
It's a formula for a new kind of gas, mustard gas, hydrogen-based instead of sulfur.
So we'll talk about the gas in a minute, but first let's talk about that notebook and what she just read, supposedly. Okay, so this is obviously from the same scene where she talks about Ottoman and Sumerian, and it's supposedly in code in Ottoman and Sumerian, and Wonder Woman can read it because she knows Ottoman and Sumerian. So let's go through the logic process here. This is a notebook of a chemist who grew up in the usual 1918 environment, basically, prior to it, like everyone else. And Diana is from ancient Greece on the Paradise Island thing. Now, they can have access to knowledge and all of this stuff. She can know chemistry like the back of her hand all she wants, but the way that we notarize chemical formula, the way that we notate our formulas and such, is a language unto itself. And then, so this is chemistry that a chemist would understand, who also took lessons in the same notation of chemistry. I mean, it's like not knowing the periodic table. If you don't, like, how do you work out what a chemist is writing in their formula? This is ridiculous. But on top of that, it's in Sumerian and Ottoman, so it's a mixture of two languages. And then with that, they say it's a code, but if it's just in another language, that's not a code. That's just, it needs to be translated. If it's encoded, that means that there's a cipher, and she can't just read it. And then on top of that is in a notation that she shouldn't know. This book raises too many questions, so let's move on to the gas itself, which raises more questions.
Gas masks would be useless against hydrogen.
No, I have no doctorate in chemistry, and I am not an expert on this whatsoever, but I remember my chemistry classes, and as elementary as they were, and as far as I can understand, you have just backed your gas into a corner it cannot get out of. Now, I'm not sure you can actually call a gas that wouldn't be sulfur-based mustard gas in the first place, but I definitely don't know enough about that to make a definitive statement of any type or educated statement on that. But I do know that if you base it on hydrogen and it makes it so that the gas mask is useless, I know what you're trying to do there.
I've got it. And if it's what I think, it's going to be terrible.
You're trying to say that the particle is so small that the gas mask filter isn't going to filter it out, and so it's going to get through, and the poison still gets to the person wearing the gas mask. The problem with that is that if it is a molecule that small, then it's probably lighter than air. What happens to gas if it's lighter than air? That's right, it doesn't hang in, a fog over the area like we see this gas do many, many times. It would just, like, poof up into the sky and, like, disappear and spread and be almost useless as a poison for the way that they're trying to use it. Because it would just escape through the sky, like, crazy fast, because it's lighter than air. If it wasn't lighter than air, then it would probably not render the gas masks useless. So right here we have a conundrum with this gas. Now see, in this scene, it doesn't look like it's negating the filter in the mask, it looks like it's literally melting through the mask. Well, that would be an acid compound. That's nothing new, we know what acids are. But it has little to do with hydrogen.
Let's go! Time to stage a demonstration for the Kaiser!
Oh, wait, no. Now the gas is cracking glass. Which doesn't even, not even acid. That's why chemists and, chemistry labs use so many glass beakers and vials and stuff, because it can hold things like acid and corrosive materials without being heavily corroded.
The gas will kill everything. What kind of weapon kills innocents?
In this war, every kind.
Yeah, don't worry, Diana. I'm pretty sure the gas would just disperse upwards, and very few people would get mild skin irritation and Like, it would be less effective than the gases that they already have. They've created a less effective gas than the horrible ones that they already had. And that's the thing, you don't need to change these gases in the first place. But let's talk about the thing she just said, the ridiculous line that we just got fed of, what type of weapon kills innocents? And Trevor returns with something equally silly. He says, in this war, all of them. Well, no, just all of them. Like, all weapons kill innocents. Weapons are indiscriminate. Weapons don't choose what they kill. Weapons don't do things. People do things. Living things do things. Objects are just what they use. And weapons, I mean, they're what is a weapon? A weapon is what is being used. You know, toothpick can be a weapon if you use it as one. Yes, that was Diana walking directly into a cloud of the horrible, newly developed, super destructive evil gas. Completely fine. Yes, that was Diana walking around completely fine and seeing completely clearly through the fog of terribly disgusting chemical weapon gas that was supposed to make us tremble for the entire movie.
They're dead. They're all dead.
See how effective this gas is? Steve Trevor walks over and he coughs a little bit. He doesn't run for his life away from the edge of that gas. He doesn't, need medical attention. No, just a couple coughs and he's fine, and just stand on the edge. As long as you're not in the direct giant cloud of it, then it can't hurt you, apparently. Man, they messed this up. So let's talk about what a flammable gas is. A flammable gas is a gas that lights on fire. And you might be saying, yeah, exactly, that's why he fired a shot into the things and blew up the plane. You're like, yeah, okay, but if there's fire to consume the flammable gas, then it consumes the flammable gas. It burns it up. In other words, if there's an explosion and it burns up the gas, there's no more gas. So he doesn't have to fly the plane anywhere. Yeah, that's a major mess up, isn't it? But once again, I feel like we've gone through enough nitpicking that we need a little break and to see something awesome from the film, something that we can just enjoy. So here is a little bit of Wonder Woman being Wonder Woman. Why did the German sniper just shoot a civilian that's been living in the occupied town under them for like 4 years? There's clear enemy combatants like in the open that are obvious threats, and he shoots the civilian first? But that's all we have time for in this installment. Thank you for stopping by. I've been the Yellow Brick Rabbit. If you haven't already, then please follow the Yellow Brick Rabbit and press all those little button thingies. You know, all the things that you do for all the other YouTubers. Do those things. Thank you in advance. And I hope you join us next time when we go down the rabbit hole.